Hey everyone, my name is Thomas Fitzgerald of Fitzgerald Physiotherapy Clinic. My job is to help you, the sports person, perform at your best week in, week out for the whole season and for the length of your career. Not dipping in and out of games, picking up little niggling injuries. It's making you perform at your best consistently. So in our last video, we chatted through a little bit about what I've seen the top all black rugby players do to stay at their best. And you might be looking at me thinking, I'm not an all black, I'm not an elite athlete, I'm not in that category, but the same principles apply. These guys just knew their bodies inside out and they knew when they needed to get help. So in today's video, we're going to chat through how we look at how we screen that athlete and figure out what issues they may have to get their body functioning at 100%. So when someone comes in the door to me or when I'm working with an athlete, I will do a massive screen on how they move. So before I even go there, I'll have a general discussion. I'll screen the whole body. I said, have you ever had any head knocks or concussions, any shoulder issues, any elbow, hand, chest, ribs, upper back, neck, lower back, hips, knees, thighs, calves, ankles. I will run through the whole thing because someone will forget a little thing that might have happened, but that might be the straw that's breaking the camel's back essentially. So we'll run through that whole screen. Then they'll be into me and I'll get them to do a few particular movements. I'll get them to probably squat, lunge, touch their toes if they can, bend backwards, twist, side bend. All this tells me a lot about how they're using their body. Then from having that previous chat about what their injury history is, I have a fair idea of what I need to maybe hone in on to see where the issue may lie. So for example, I've recently had someone in who had a very bad disc problem in their back, inter-county hurler. They couldn't bend down to rise the ball because they'd get this pinching and the shooting nerve pain down their legs. So we ran through his injury history. He had quite an extensive injury history, and it was when we did our assessment, it was a dodgy ankle that wasn't rehabbed right that was causing all his issue. He wasn't forcing good enough pressure through his foot when he was bending or when he was lifting or doing different things, and suddenly then all that pressure was going back along up to the hip and the lower back. So once we got him on the bed, we assessed his strength in what we call like 3 dimensions: forwards, backwards, side to side, and in a sideways plane. So we figured out, where is he weak? Is that weakness coming from the ankle, the knee, the hip? Is it a lack of movement in the rib cage? Is it a lack of core stability? Whatever, we figure all this out. So the key is we've got to listen to that injury history. If I just went straight in for the lower back and I started working that, yeah, he'd probably get a little bit better. But if I'm not addressing that root cause, which is the ankle in that instance, I'm not going to get him better, and we're essentially wasting our time. So we've got to take that step back and say, right, why has this guy failed our traditional approaches, or why has he not got better with physio in the past? Because they've just honed in on that one area. But we've got to look at that broader picture. So we look at that broad picture and we say, right, we need to rehab the ankle. So we need to get you strong in a few different directions with regards to that ankle. Then we get him onto his feet and we progress that rehab so it's more sport specific. We have him changing direction, we have him jumping, landing, moving in certain ways, just so we can put as much pressure through it as possible. So if we know where the weak point is, we just load the living crap out of it, more than even you would probably in a game situation. And if we know the athlete can do that, he's going to have no problem going back training and playing. So the key takeaway here is, don't just go to your physio or whoever and say, right, I got a problem here with my hip, will you just massage my hip or just drive your knee in or your elbow in there or whatever it is just to release it. We've got to look at that broad picture. So if you're having issues like this and it sounds like it might be appropriate to you, then just reach out and ask us any questions on this or comment below. But yeah, big picture approach, using my step-by-step systematic approach, I will figure out what that issue is and then we'll work through it. And I use this with all my athletes. I've used it with all my club players, all the way up to those all black guys that I was treating a couple of years ago in New Zealand. So in the last video, I'm going to just chat through an excellent resource for any sports people out there that are looking to perform at their best, that can work it at your level, I suppose. So I hope this was helpful. Any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out, and we'll chat soon.